Alright, what is up, YouTube? It is K-Rod here, back with another good live stream video for today. Before we get things started, much credit and respect to Jordanis Ugas defeating the legendary one and only Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. That was a good fight last night. I had lots of fun watching it. I'm gonna make my post-fight breakdown, reaction to that. I had a lot of fun watching that fight. Not only just because I'm proud of watching Ugas do his thing, but I'm just proud of, the style and the hunger and the drive that Ugas did to Manny Pacquiao that fight to be such a good fight to watch altogether. Oh my God, NetherRealm Silly Rumor. What? Oh, dude, I definitely got to cover that. Okay, but yeah, much respect to Jordanis Ugas. He did his thing. I have a lot of love and respect for the Cuban people. Jordanis Ugas, he's now a face of boxing, and I mean his hard work and dedication proves why he deserves to be at the top. And I give him nothing but love and respect because Ugas, he deserved it, man. He worked his butt off to get to that level. And I mean, a lot of people wanted to say that Ugas, he had like a bicep injury, and people want to say, oh, well, maybe that could play a factor in Manny defeating him, blah, blah, blah. That could give Ugas, the disadvantage. And I say, you know what, to hell with that, because Deontay Wilder, he had a torn bicep injury going into the Chris Arreola fight, and yet Deontay Wilder still defeated him. So Ugas definitely defied all the critics, and he did what he had to do. So, I definitely tip my hat off to him, and I give him a lot of credit and respect. But now, back to the gaming commentary. I want to talk about I want to talk about EA Sports, because I had something come up to mind. And I don't know, for all you gamers out there, if y'all want to agree with me or not. But for those of you that have played boxing games over the years, like me, there's this one particular boxing game that I've had a lot of fun playing. This is like back on, I want to say 2011 or like 2012 or something, but it was like a long time ago, but it was called Facebreaker. For those of you that don't know, Facebreaker was just like an animated version of, I wouldn't say Fight Night. It was just a animated arcade-ish version of just regular boxing. And it was a fun boxing game, don't get it twisted. But I guess that the mechanics in that game was fun to play, because it was supposed to be a goofy, fun video game for everyone to enjoy, to have a good time playing boxing. And the good thing about it was that it gave you a drive to play the game more. See, now, the reason why I'm coming out with this video about it is because I believe that there should be another Facebreaker video game. Facebreaker is a very successful video game. EA Sports decided not to continue it because they had interest of making UFC fighting games prior to Fight Night Champion and Fight Night Round 3 and Round 4 being created. And the weird thing about it was just that, I guess when it came to, EA making different games, I guess that's when Facebreaker was just no longer in the talks. So I guess from a business perspective, it made all the sense in the world to not make Facebreaker anymore, because EA Sports had thought that it wasn't worth anyone's time to, make the game. When clearly, the game was popular and the game was fun to play. But the only issue with it was just simply that, what was going to be like the gain of making another game if you could just make more games that's going to sell a lot more. And granted, EA has done a really good job, doing a fantastic job developing games over the years, but I think their biggest downfall is not continuing games that are actually good moneymaker games, because I think the problem with EA is that they just don't focus on games that they know that they can expand on. Like, I'll just go with Freedom Fighters. For those of you that are old school PS2 players like me, because I love PS2 and I still play PS2 games on my PC. And, it's really sad because I don't play console anymore. And it's really because that console games, they are fun to play, don't get it twisted, but when you just don't have the time to just get back onto your console, you're more connected psychologically to your computer, and that's why that I invested into a gaming laptop, because I figured, well, if I could just get all the same games that I used to play on my Xbox One or Xbox 360 or PS2 or whatever, it makes all the sense in the world for me to have that instead of, wasting time trying to go for, meaningless games that I could play on my PC or games that I used to like playing on the Xbox 360 or whatever. Yeah, so I'd rather just take advantage of it. Which, shit, I would get Gears of War for my PC if I was able to. I'm actually going to take a look at that when I get on my PC today. But after this live stream, I'm going to do another live stream on Ugas and Manny Pacquiao, and I'm going to cover that as well. But either way, I was, really considering of talking about this topic about EA, resuming Facebreaker, because Facebreaker is an amazing video game, and I figured it would be a good, video for me to just cover because, I like covering gaming content for those of you that are big gaming fans, and I know that this channel is small and I've been on YouTube for a long time, but, let me tell you something. If I were to make some good income out of YouTube, it's going to be out of gaming and definitely boxing. Because I could definitely make a lot of money, going to boxing fights and just becoming like a news media, reporter of that manner, just talking about boxing and just, having like a good time with, how the fans view boxing and running into like some good names and just enjoying, I guess, like the boxing, like reporting life, which, I mean, don't get it twisted. I'm pretty sure like those media people, they don't get paid to like, they don't get paid by like any, how should I say, they don't get paid by any networks to like go out there and actually cover fights, which I would definitely love to do that. I would like to go out there and like actually talk to fighters every single day, like I try to get together with right now, because yesterday I was supposed to have a interview with Shenard Bunch. For those of y'all that don't know, he's that pro fighter that I covered that got robbed against Janelson Figueroa, Boca Chica. So probably in the future, whenever he's available, me and him, we could chop it up. And then I'm supposed to get Dennis Douglin. Don't know what he's doing. I think he was busy yesterday, but it doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, like I got some good heat coming to the channel very soon. I'm supposed to get Kevin Newman on in the future. I know he's busy. He's always busy all the time, so I don't blame him. I'm not like personally for me, it doesn't matter what I do for the channel. I just like to have fun and just enjoy what I do because it's like another hobby of mine that I like getting into. So, like whatever I cover on this channel, I do it out of love and out of, and out of dedication. So, that's why that I come on and make these videos out of anything that I like to do because, it's fun and it's very creative. So, either way, there's going to be a lot of content coming to the channel. I have so much fun making boxing videos and talking about video games and whatnot. And I think those are the two beautiful mixes that I could do when it comes to sports and gaming. And, hopefully later on in the future I could post more IT videos like I did with like my PlayStation video. I really do thank you guys for supporting that video. I tried my best to try to give like the best knowledge on how to fix your PS3 hardware drive system. Hopefully in the future, I could try to come back with more knowledge with how to, reset your PS3 hard drive firmware, and then I could probably transfer that to like other consoles as well, how to do it with your Xbox One, or how to do it with your PS5, or how to like, you know, decode, you know, like your security or like whatever, or how to mod like your consoles. Like, you know, I like to do like I like to do stuff like that because that is like the more, how should I say, it's the more precise and fluid content that most people don't want to do on their spare time. And I think that would be better educational content to help you guys out that do get into that type of learning and that type of thinking. So I like to be a bigger influence for those people that do get into that type of community, and they connect with people like myself that actually do dedicate to that lifestyle, because I will be entering into that career field of becoming a cybersecurity type of person into IT. So I do strongly believe that, you know, it's important out of my due diligence to test myself to the highest standard, and I could also learn and influence my knowledge to other people. So yeah, let's get back with video games. Facebreaker 2 is an amazing arcade boxing video game. Has great boxing mechanics, not to the fullest, you know, degree. Like, I mean, don't get it twisted. You could still block. You could still do all the things that you want. But Facebreaker is widely known for the arcade-ish combinations and like the knockouts, and, you know, having like, I guess, like signature punches and whatnot. And I mean, you know, it's like a goofy boxing video game. I actually like playing it. Very fun, very, you know, interesting to play at times. But no, you know, it's actually it's actually like a really fun video game, and I actually do enjoy, you know, how should I say? I actually do enjoy, you know, playing that game, and I would like to see another version of that game come back. Same thing with Freedom Fighters. That's a military third-person shooter video game. It's like, you know, it's pretty much like a, you know, United States versus Soviet Union, Russia type of video game, where, you know, everybody, you know, basically just kind of, you know, does, you know, like what they have to do to like regain control for New York City to, you know, defeat the Soviets, blah blah blah. And I mean, you know, it's cool and all, but I mean, you know, it was like a really good educational video game, you know, in the sense of having fun and enjoying, I guess, at the shooter, or I guess at the military shooter lifestyle of playing that game. But back to Facebreaker. Facebreaker is an amazing game. You had signature boxers that had like signature, you know, type punches where you could use like certain combinations, or, you know, certain ways to, I guess, how should I say, certain ways to facilitate your boxing ability of whatever you wanted to do, whether if it was like a 1-2. I mean, don't get it twisted. It wasn't like your typical like boxing game where you could just do whatever you want in the ring. It was more like you use punches and bunches and whatever combinations that you had. It had it into a meter. So, you know, the meter system was pretty good. It had orange, green, and then it had it had green, orange, and then it had dark orange, and then it had red, which red means that, like, you know, red means that you activated your ultimate, you know, Facebreaker knockout. And I actually liked that out of the game itself. It was actually really fun to play, and I actually had a lot of fun enjoying that type of, you know, meta into the game. I mean, don't get it twisted. It was kind of bullshit when you had like one of those, how should I say, if you had like one of those type of fights where like someone like you know, like where someone keeps spamming certain combinations to like try to get a how should I say, try to get the upper advantage to try to knock you out, then that's what kind of made the game pretty, you know, lame in that aspect. But I mean, either way, I mean, you had parrying systems where you could like parry certain punches, and then you could block it back with like a hard counter. So, you know, it's good to have that type of meta into the game, but if it ever went further to the standard of actually enjoying, you know, how should I say, enjoying like the pure sweet science of boxing I think that's what they should do. It would be nice to see that, and I would definitely like to see it because if EA can return back to that sweet science of boxing where you could still have like an arcade-ish boxing video game, but it's actually real boxing, like IQ type of fighting. Oh yeah, then that would be amazing because that is what makes the sport of boxing good for the men and or for the male female type meta when it comes to any form of fighting game. So either way, I mean, I like it. I hope that is something that could return back to the future. Same thing with Freedom Fighters and Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. I've always wanted to see that game return. I think it is good to see that because it would be a really good investment for EA to make extra money for a game that was once popular, but now it's like nobody doesn't talk about it because people just don't get into it. And I mean, I don't blame them. It's just more like if you're not the type of guy to be in that position to to like a certain game that doesn't facilitate your interests, then I get that part. But on top of that, if people like myself do want to see that game back, same thing with SOCOM. SOCOM is a very good military for a third-person shooter video game, and I mean, if that game were to come back, I think that would be really good. I think honestly, the way things are when it comes to military shooters, most people would like to see a game like SOCOM come back rather than Call of Duty. But the reason why SOCOM is not back is the same reason why people don't want to see EA Facebreaker back. It's just that a lot of people know that game is good, but are the developers willing to go back and make it when they know that they're making more money with other games that are more commercialized into their favor for the business itself? And a lot of people would say they would go with the business model of just listening to what the fans wanted with a highly marketized video game such as UFC or NBA 2K or whatever. Though those are the big money games, but the alternative money games would still be the ones that I would say Facebreaker, Freedom Fighters, SOCOM. All those games are phenomenal, and they're good. They're good games that could really put a huge stun on big marketized video games that a lot of people don't really play as much. They just buy the game, and then once it's done, then they're like, okay, I'm done playing it, and I'm not gonna come back to it. That's why people stop playing Mortal Kombat 11, because it's like, that the game itself is just, it's not the same game that we expected as Mortal Kombat fans to say, okay, this game is good, but the problem is that are the mechanics the same mechanics that we played for Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat 10? And that is the major problem with Mortal Kombat. And that's why most people in the fighting game community knows that if you want to see a better video game that is good for a fighting game meta, you want to make sure that that game itself is going to marketize itself to the highest standard where people can enjoy themselves and say, wow, that game was awesome because I'm always going to come back and play it. That's why every time when I played Soul Calibur, I always knew Soul Calibur was going to be a damn good game because every time when you come back and play it, that game was always good. But now it's like most games are watered down because a lot of people just don't want to do shit. So, I mean, I guess that's a big flaw in the gaming community. A lot of people just kind of cater to a bunch of, degenerate nonsense, and they just don't listen to what the real true hardcore fans like myself want, and what developers know what they want, because that's how meta should work. Meta works on, logic and technicality. That's how gaming logic is, and the science of, computer gaming IT. But either way, that's a whole another discussion that I could get into another day. But anyways, that's pretty much what I have to say. I'm going to talk about UGAS next, so stay tuned for that, guys. I'll see y'all later, and UGAS is coming up soon. Peace out. Bye.